The CW's primetime lineup is filled to the brim with the superheroes of the DC Universe.
Now, one group of podcasters takes to the airwaves to sift through the exciting and dynamic world of the CW's DC Universe.
Get ready to journey to the worlds of The Flash,
Black Lightning,
SuperGirl,
Arrow, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
From the creators of the Hangin' With Web show,
it's the Just Us Watchtower. Here's your host,
Kevin J. Kessler.
Watchtower is online.
Welcome, everyone, to the Just Us Watchtower, Episode 7, recorded on the 24th of January, 2019. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a really great holiday season. And we are back for 2019. The Watchtower, the CW DC Universe shows are back, and thus so are we. So, as I said in the beginning, my name is Kevin J. Kessler. I am a fantasy author and DC enthusiast, and I am joined this week by my partner in crime, the one and only owner of the UWA Elite Professional Wrestling Federation, Mr. Dave Swan.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm good, Swan. How are you over there in Jersey?
We're in the middle of like a hurricane-esque rainstorm right now.
Oh, fantastic.
The power is still on as of now, so hope.
All right. Well, if I lose you, I'll know why. The weather Thanos finger snap will take you out of.
Yeah, it could happen at any time.
Yep. All right, so maybe we should get through this kind of quick then. Folks, we are talking tonight about the DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 4, Episode 8, Legends of To-meow, which was about a month ago, was the mid-season finale. Also talking about recent episodes of SuperGirl, 2 episodes of The Flash, and this week's episode of Arrow. You'll notice missing this week is Black Lightning, and here's the thing about Black Lightning. I hate it. I hate the I really don't like the show. Swan doesn't watch it. It's gotten 0 out of 10 stars from me for the last several shows, and I think we're for the time being, for the sake of time and being able to flesh things out in the connected universes better, we're going to be dropping Black Lightning from the lineup. So let us get on. I'm going to start with Legends this week, Swan, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah. So DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 4, Episode 8, Legends of To-meow. So this is just another proof positive episode showcasing why I love Legends of Tomorrow so much this season. It was just nonstop entertainment from beginning to end. What did you think of it?
Well, I mean, this aired... about a month ago? Actually, more than a month ago.
More than a month ago at this point, yeah.
Now, so you'll have to bear with me. I know you watched it more recently than I have.
I actually just watched it before we went on the air because I wanted to. So, a few things that I wanted to point out about this episode. So, Constantine has gone back in time, and he has changed the timeline to make it so that Dez never gets sucked into hell. He does this by breaking up with him in a really heart-wrenching scene from the episode before. And that shifts everything in the timeline. So we come back. First of all, Zari is a cat.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, I loved this cat actor. This might be my favorite cat actor of all time. Because this cat had such great, you want to say emotional depth of a cat, but I mean, the cat, hit all its marks, and it did everything really great. I really liked the expressive face of this cat. We finally got to see the leprechaun, which is they teased that forever. So yeah. We finally got to see the leprechaun right before the custodians of the chronology put a hole in his chest. Now, I think the greatest part of this episode was the 3 different versions of the team that we got to see throughout it. You had the custodians of the chronology, you had the sirens of space-time, and you had the puppets of tomorrow.
Yeah, and I wonder which was your favorite.
Yeah, now if anybody knows, if you've known me for a day, you'll know that Puppets of Tomorrow, I was rolling on the floor during the entirety of it.
Well, actually, it was DC's Puppets of Tomorrow.
Yes, it was DC's Puppets of Tomorrow. You know what I loved the most from the Puppets of Tomorrow was the fact that they were bad puppets.
Yes.
They weren't like when Angel did its puppet episode, Puppet Angel was a really well put together puppet, but this was such a bad. They were such bad puppets with the big huge lips for the girls and the eyes on Nate. But I mean, they had the best theme song too. The flying through history, Solving life's mysteries will give bad guys the boot in superhero suits. And, like, the visual of the zombie chasing the puppets, like, unbelievably funny. And the way Constantine sold it was the... John Constantine was the right character to have interact with the puppets.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
110%. But the only thing that might have even been funnier than the puppets was the shot of Mick Rory and the fairy godmother robbing an armored car. With the fairy godmother in the Captain Cold uniform.
Yep.
I feel so bad for Mick. It's clearly some psychological scarring. He misses Leonard so much. He keeps trying to dress people up as him. Were you as disappointed as I was that when Leo Snart came over after last year's crossover, we didn't get, he didn't stick around on Legends?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Wentworth Miller, so I definitely was hoping he would stick around.
As was I. So the Custodians of the Chronology, definitely it felt like an A-Team reference, right?
Or a Guardians of the Galaxy reference?
I don't know, because they weren't dressed like the Guardians. it could have been the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing. The Sirens of Spacetime were definitely Charlie's Angels.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Complete with Papa Hayward being Charlie.
Yeah.
Legends being so aware of itself and breaking the fourth wall this season. My favorite moment was, we have missed calls from Barry Allen, Oliver Queen, and Kara Zor-El. Oh, must be the yearly crossover. Hard pass. And then as they're walking away, and I only know this because I have subtitles on, you hear Nate in the background go, I bet you they switched costumes this year.
I didn't hear that, but that's great.
Yeah. Gideon's human form is always a pleasure to see. I always like seeing human Gideon. And
I was just about to say, actually, I feel like it's just a matter of time before Gideon becomes an actual cast member in the physical sense.
I would love that, like if Gideon gets a robot body, because which they did in Sirens of Spacetime when she was hard drive.
Yes.
And what was Layla? Roundhouse.
Yeah.
White Canary, and hard drive.
Jarvis eventually got a human body in the MCU.
Very true, and in Mass Effect, Edie, who was the artificial intelligence on the ship, which is the exact same thing as Gideon, gets a body in Mass Effect 3 and becomes a party member. So it's not an unheard of concept.
No.
The other cool little thing I noticed in the Sirens of Spacetime, Gideon had Rip Hunter's gun.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I know. Sarah had Mick's gun. I want to say Layla had Snart's gun, and Gideon had Rip's. Do you think? Here was my thing though. Do you think if Sarah really got impaled by the unicorn, it really would have turned Nate and Ray into murderous Rambos?
No, and this was a big thing for me as I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I went with the ride for, the humor of it and everything.
Yes.
And, Legends of Tomorrow is more of a comedic show. But, yeah, I never really bought into that actually any of them, really. Any of the possible futures. None of them actually felt like something that these characters would...
The puppet one does. Because if she turned them into puppets, they would have had the mentality of puppets.
Yeah. I mean, that's true.
That was the only one that I could feasibly grasp. But yeah, the Custodians of the Chronology and Sirens of Spacetime were definitely not,
realistic?
Yes. One of my favorite moments, though, when they go to the Time Bureau, and
I know where you're going with this.
She turns into Gary the Time Dweeb. But when we see Mona, and Mona's like, please don't turn me into a cat. Or, if you do, make it this kind of cat. Okay, I'm ready. She wanted to be turned into a cat. I thought that was really funny. Ava was really nice. I liked that. But I liked the montage where they keep going back in time and coming and seeing who's dead. And there was one where Gary the Time Dweeb was dead. And she makes this face where she's like, is this one so bad? And then decides to go back anyway, because I was doing the same thing. I was like, this one seems great.
Yeah. And I know how you feel about Gary the Time Dweeb.
I know, it's how you feel about Mona.
Yeah. I just don't understand why we needed a female Gary the Time Dweeb. Like,
No,
I don't understand the thought process of, you know what this show is missing? Another comic sidekick.
Another comic sidekick, but what if this one wants to bang a werewolf-looking thing? I like the way you're thinking, pal.
And what else does she do? Well, that's really all we flushed out so far.
She might be a furry because she wants to be turned into a cat.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, let's bring the fairy godmother back. I really enjoyed the return of the fairy godmother as well.
Yes, yeah.
So let's talk about the actual, like, emotional heart of the story, which was Constantine's moment where he has to go back and let the love of his life be dragged into hell.
Mm-hmm.
That hit me. Like, that was a big moment for me when he actually goes through with it, lets it happen, and I think we all kind of called that Dez was going to end up being the big bad.
Yeah.
You know, and he's pulling the strings of the Time Bureau, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how this demon, like, got himself to the point where Mr. Hayworth is, like, you know, taking orders from him. But it definitely happened, and this is what we're going to be dealing with now. Which I think really, I mean, it's kind of solidifying Constantine as the main character of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last year it was really Amaya's show. This year it's definitely Constantine's. What would you rate this one out of 10, this mid-season finale for Legends?
I gotta go with, I'll go with the 7.5.
Okay. I was a little bit more generous than you, as I am usually with Legends. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a rip-roaring good time. I really enjoyed it. I think it was par for the course for the show, and really gave us a chance to see these characters in a much, like, different light. You know, it's just funny that my favorite show is the one that has my least favorite character in Gary the Time Dweeb. So that we are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back talking about the current episodes, the mid-season premieres of SuperGirl, The Flash, 2 episodes of The Flash this week, actually, and Arrow. So stay tuned. The Watchtower coming back at you right after these words.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Grab some altitude and adventure together at Pound the Grape. It's all about an adventure above the crowd. There's always something different happening there, from painting to food pairings to dancing. But one thing's rock solid, people sharing incredible wines from around the world. And if that's not what puts Lift under your wing, try their craft beer. Grab some altitude and adventure at Pound the Grape. Find more at poundthegrape.com. Poundthegrape.com. Pour a glass of adventure.
Every year, tens of millions of people flock to Florida for its sunny beaches and world-famous tourist attractions. Most never learn about the strange and unusual locations just off the beaten path. From the UFOs of Gulf Breeze to Robert the Haunted Doll in Key West, learn about the myths, monsters, and legends from the dark side of the Sunshine State with author Mark Muncy and illustrator Carrie Schultz in their books Eerie, Florida and Freaky Florida from the History Press. Find them at EerieFlorida.com or wherever books are sold.
Devarius has lost everything. His parents murdered, his sister kidnapped, and the new village he called home destroyed. The Dragonia Empire is out of control, destroying anything and everything in their path, searching for the Resistance. Devarius is left with no choice but to find the Resistance, join them, and hope he can help them defeat the Dragonia Empire once and for all to bring peace to the land of Keldroga. Dragonia, Rise of the Wyverns, Dragonia Empire Volume 1.
You're listening to the Just Us Watchtower on Krypton Radio.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Just Us Watchtower. I'm Kevin Kessler here, joined by Dave Swan, and we are talking about SuperGirl, Season 4, Episode 10, Suspicious Minds. This was the mid-season premiere for this show. Right away, Swan, I want to point out this Red Sun Russian SuperGirl. Where is this going?
I have no idea.
Because they tease it every week, and it seems like a really radical departure from where we're, like, supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's the most bizarre teases. Also, it's like a Marvel post-credit scene, but they just shove it anywhere they want in the episode,
right?
And then never re-acknowledge it.
Because if this is leading to just a one-off episode, then it's a lot of effort they're putting in for a one-off episode.
Yeah,
If it's going to become the big bad, then I don't know. That's something completely different. But, I mean, I hope it's not going to be something like the president is colluding with the Russians and their Red Sun Supergirl.
Oh, brace yourself.
It very much could be.
I mean, here's the thing. With the Arrowverse, I'm kind of over them fighting the villain played by themselves thing. I feel like they've played this card a bit much, but Arrow
never did that, but Flash definitely did it for a whole season with Savitar.
Yeah, and I mean we just got over like with Elseworlds
and
like,
Crisis on Earth X.
Yeah, like fighting bad Superman, and you know I don't know. I'm just not, like, on board where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see Supergirl fight evil Supergirl.
Evil Russian Supergirl.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear Melissa Benoist doing a Russian accent. That's going to be adorable.
Yeah.
Speaking of adorable, Kara in Spin Class is absolutely adorable. So when Kara is at that crime scene and the DEO bitch shows up, Haley, when she's just like, you don't work for us anymore. Now get out of here. That's an order. Like, you just said she doesn't work for you anymore. I think you're telling her that's an order.
Yeah.
Okay, so John Jones launching a private investigator business is probably my favorite thing the show's done in a long time. And I really like the set there, and I'm kind of hoping we get a lot more of it. Like, that's got to be like the Scooby Hangout. Like, it reminded me of Buffy in a way, like where they're doing all their research, like in the library of the school, and it's, like I like them having kind of more of a bare bones operation, just Kara and John, than having to deal with like the DEO with all of their super equipment and all that stuff. So I also said I want John Jones' Private Investigator to be its own show, but obviously we can't have a million shows.
No. I agree. I'm a big fan of this, and I think that we are going to see a lot more of it. I do think that with Supergirl no longer with the DEO, I think that that's going to become their primary base of operations.
Yes, 100%.
That was not a cheap-looking set.
No,
they're planning on using it a lot.
That's not a one and done. How do these agents know Kara's identity was one of my other questions. Like, when did that happen? When did 12 DEO agents, like, figure out that Kara's Supergirl?
I don't know. I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that, this has happened.
Yeah.
But if it happened in an episode, I don't remember what episode it was.
Speaking of things that may have happened in past episodes that I'm just noticing now, Jimmy's office has been completely decatified.
Yeah, I mean, that happened a while ago.
Yeah, I just noticed it, that he doesn't have, like, the posh white TVs behind him anymore. He's got, like, wood paneling behind the desk. So Nia Null getting the Nia Null Brainy scene where he gives her the book with all of the superhero costume ideas in it. What do you think about, like, I feel like they're I don't know. That scene kind of fell flat for me. I feel like I'm not really clamoring for Nia to like become a superhero with her dream powers.
Yeah, well, first of all, Brainiac is probably my favorite character in the entire Arrowverse.
Yes, he's amazing.
He's a great character. He had a lot of great scenes in this week. But yeah, I'm not. I don't know. She doesn't really bring much to the table for me yet.
And you know what? I think I'm still very bitter about the fact that they really made it a point to say this character is trans, but the character's not trans. The actress is trans, and that's wonderful. But
yeah.
she's like, yeah, I'm trans, and then she's like, but I'm an alien, and the women of my species do this. I'm like, I thought you were trans. Like, you know, you're a trans woman, but she's saying like bio women from her planet have this power, and I don't know. I feel like they don't really understand where they're going with it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's hard to pass judgment on it yet until we see how it fully plays out. Mm-hmm. But
speaking about how things are going to play out, how about John Jones having a boxes upon boxes of illegal copies of government documents?
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, huh.
He's like, I made all these copies.
It's a good thing I made all these photocopies
of government documents. How did you manage this?
Yeah,
I'm glad you caught that too, because my brain kind of like fizzled out at that moment. Brainy's compartmentalization was hysterical, where he couldn't remember that Kara was Supergirl. Kara, your sister with the glasses?
Yeah,
that was amazing. Haley's justification of like these aren't humans, that seems like kind of a really radical left turn from when the administration first took over. Like, President Tron wasn't President Trump yet.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. For me, that kind of seemed kind of weird how now they're like, oh, we're just going to murder all these aliens because they're not humans. I did like the Super Friend reference, even though that scene fell flat for me when he was like Super Friends. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
The DEO has their guns back. How do we feel about that?
I mean, I guess it makes sense with the new head in charge.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they I didn't think they needed to get rid of them, but I don't think that they need them. I believe that DEO has technology to knock people out.
They do, yes. So when Haley found out that Kara was Supergirl, mm-hmm. I definitely got the sense that Haley was going to die in this episode, and I was super happy about it. I'm like, oh, awesome, she's going to die before she gets out. Then instead they walk that ethical line and have John wipe her mind.
Right.
I feel like that's... I'm kind of torn, because I feel like it's not a thing John would consent to do, but I also feel like if you're really kind of drawing the parallel of him as a father to them, like there's nothing he won't do for them.
Right, but I also think that Haley more than justified him doing it.
I agree.
It wasn't just like some random person, found out and he had to wipe their mind. Like, she played all of her cards right off the bat and was like, well, now
mm-hmm.
you're my slave and you'll do whatever I tell you.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's justified in this sense.
Yeah, I get that. So when Kara saves her after she finds out, I'm like, oh gosh, is she going to be like, thank you for saving my life, Supergirl, now I'll never tell anyone your secret. And nope, that was not what was happening.
Nope.
She's kind of like a mini Amanda Waller.
Yes. Oh, I got that vibe a lot.
Yeah, like I'll do anything, and I feel like they're like, well, we can't use Amanda Waller anymore, but we'll just make a new Amanda Waller and call her Haley.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're still not letting them use Amanda Waller. Like, how hard would it be to bring her back to life?
Oh, yeah. I mean, or they could just grab another Amanda Waller from another Earth or something.
Oh man. Sherlock Waller. We brought Cowgirl Amanda Waller over from Earth 32.
Cowgirl Amanda Waller.
I got me a herd to drive and questionable morals. Yeehaw!
Have you ever seen a storyline killed as abruptly as Amanda Waller and the Suicide Squad? Which, ironically, we'll talk more about later.
I know. Yeah, that was so abruptly killed over on Arrow. All because Warner Brothers can't get out of its own way. Like, nope. We'll get to it when we get to Arrow. But yeah. Now, how do we feel about Alex now no longer knowing that Kara is Supergirl?
Hate it.
You hate it? I kind of think it's interesting. It's like an interesting thing to do. But part of me also hates it. Well, the way Kara reacted to it, I was like, is she going to forget Kara exists?
Yeah.
Or just forget that she's Supergirl. And no, they confirmed that she's like, oh no, well, I'll still be your sister. I'm just not going to know you're Supergirl. I guess when someone's been your confidant, why do you hate it? There's the question.
I hate it because I know it's going to be undone by the end of the season.
Oh, of course it will.
And so it's just wasting time. It just feels like a filler episode. But I know it's going to be more than one episode.
It's also going to be insulting to Alex's intelligence of the fact that she can't figure out that Kara's Supergirl.
Right. I know we have to check that box a lot with a lot of characters, but...
Yeah, the one I find the most egregious with that is Lena Luthor.
Yes.
I feel like she should definitely know that Kara is... Like, Cat Grant figured it out. We realized that. But, okay, so... I liked the ending to this episode. I thought it was okay. I gave it a 7 out of 10. What'd you give it?
I think I'm going to go with 7.5, 7.5.
7.5. All right, so you thought it was about just as good as the Legends finale.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing. There was no moment in the episode where I had a roll. Oh wait, never mind. I take it back.
Okay.
We need to address the tentacle monster from Rogue One.
Oh yeah. that was a little much.
It's like which is the tentacle monster from Rogue One?
Pretty much exactly it. It does the exact same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like
just didn't have a wheezing old man talking about it.
And I mean, this is the thing that's going to be that drove the whole Alex mind wipe plot,
right? Because
she can't beat this lie detector alien thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like this is, like, if we had met this alien in a previous episode or something, but the fact that they just pulled it out of thin air.
Right, yeah. Like, oh, by the way, here's this thing. This little jellyfish brain thing.
Yeah.
All in all, though, Tentacle Monster notwithstanding, I thought this was a good way to come back from break. Now, to talk about a bad way to come back from a break, we will get to The Flash Season 5, Episode 10, The Flash and the Furious, after these commercials. So we'll be right back with more Watchtower after this.
Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Secrets in Italy? Oh yes. Her beauty strikes him like a thunderbolt sent by the goddess Venus. When Fiore is given a peculiar gift, a Spanish doll, she is thrown into a whirlwind of entangled passion, money, secrets, and love. Get swept away today by hanging with web show featured author Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Available now on Amazon.com.
From some of today's best-selling, award-winning authors comes 22 page-turning tales, Cursed Lands.
Cursed Lands will lead you through one doomed world after another in a haunting dystopian urban fantasy.
Join the courageous as they battle for survival across worlds where fae, vampires, angels, witches, and more roam freely.
Cursed Lands is coming soon on AppleBooks, Kobo, and Nook.
Pre-order your copy for just 99 cents today.
now on Amazon.com. War Calls, Love Cries, a Civil War novel by Mark Barie. Isaac Wells is an innocent farm boy living in upstate New York. His dreams are shattered by a treacherous brother and the onset of a devastating civil war. War Calls and Love Cries is a fast-moving historical narrative. It is an emotional roller coaster ride and a riveting must-read book that you will think about and talk about for a long time to come. War Calls, Love Cries is the kind of book you will cherish for a lifetime. On Amazon.com today.
Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available today. Murder by the Gods is a mystery thriller set in the glorious past of ancient Egypt. When the son of the Scorpion King suddenly collapses after receiving a mysterious threat from the god Seth, the prince is convinced it is the gods who are trying to kill his family. Murder by the Gods is filled with adventure and romance in a kingdom that would become known as the Land of the Pharaohs. Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available on Amazon.com today.
And now back to your host, Kevin J. Kessler.
Welcome back to the Watchtower, ladies and gentlemen. So, as promised, we're going to talk about the wrong way to come back from a mid-season break, and that is The Flash, Season 5, Episode 10, Flash and the Furious. So Swan saw this episode before I did, and he told me the premise on the phone. My immediate reaction was, I'm going to hate this episode, and boy, did I. This is one of those episodes, Swan, you put it best to me on the phone when you said it felt like a Smallville episode, but not in a good way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. To me, this was what I feared, and I was very vocal about it at the beginning of the season. This is what I feared was going to happen with the whole, giving inanimate objects meta powers.
Yeah.
Now, and... sure enough, it opened the door for this.
Yeah, the Meditech is, how long before we get, a rascal scooter or, something like that just happened to get hit by a piece of this satellite, which hit a lot of things, apparently.
Yeah.
We have a key fob that can control vehicles here. And if the Flash touches it while vibrating, he can't stop vibrating. I don't hate Meditech because some episodes I think some of it works, like the dagger and stuff works, but yeah, this is the one thing I will say right off the bat, I love Wells Thawne. Always have loved Wells Thawne. And I know I say it a lot every time he pops up, but every time I hear him talk in his whispery Thawne voice, I really enjoy that. So he's on some kind of countdown.
Yeah.
So do we think he's he's about to die, or that's what it sounded like to me?
Yeah, I think so. That was definitely what I got out of it.
So do you think that this is actually Thawne turning good, or do you think this is some Thawne plot? Because I'm going with the latter.
Yeah, I think so. I can't see why he would be why he would be turning face all of a sudden.
I think he's trying to use her to heal whatever's wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
And once that happens, he's going to go back to his Barry Allen hating ways.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that.
I also love with Thawne, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but you never know what Thawne you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's going to be other Thawne or Wells Thawne. And when he shows up as Wells Thawne in last year's crossover in the Crisis on Earth X, he's like, why are you Wells again? And he's just like, because reasons.
Yeah.
You know what?
No good reason why he's Wells.
No, none. But you know what? Here's the thing. Normally I hate that, but because so much, I overlook it. I just completely overlook it and move on with my life. So, I was really afraid that the whole concept of this episode was going to be drag racing and stuff like that, but it wasn't.
No.
So that puts it above the one of the most infamous Smallville episodes of all time, the Pete Ross Kryptonite car. Which, we were talking about this the other day on the phone, and I said to Swan, I'm like, the worst part about the Pete Ross Kryptonite car episode of Smallville is that Pete Ross had already been off the show for about a season.
Yeah, they wrote him off, and they brought him back just to do one of the worst episodes in the entire series.
Yeah, they were just we had one more left, and we didn't get to do it. We got to bring him back. It felt like the giant spider in the third act for Superman Lives.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Sweet. We never got that kryptonite car. The courtroom scene was interesting. Now, I'm trying to remember the Weather Witch episode more clearly, but from what I remember, Joss was pretty irredeemable. Like, she was, like, trying to murder civilians and, like, showed no manner of remorse at all for her actions whatsoever. So this sudden about-face is kind of jarring to me.
Yeah, I don't think that this was the original plan.
No, if they had just played her off like a girl who, like, was just trying to get back at her dad and, like, had no other aspiration, but, like, she full-blown shot lightning at civilians.
Yes. Enough lightning to kill the Flash.
Yeah! Like, I don't know. So for that, this whole entire plot kind of fell flat to me. But I will point out they do get away at the end, so that means they are going forward with this young rogues thing. Which, I don't know, how do you feel about the young rogues?
I mean, I don't think that they're necessary, because we already have a main villain for the season.
Agreed. Unless they're planting to come back next season. Like, maybe that's what the Red Sun Supergirl is. Maybe, like, they're playing the long game.
They're going to hype up Red Sun Supergirl for an entire season.
They might.
Yeah, I mean... but yeah, I mean, in Flash, we already have Cicada, and then we have Wells Dawn. So we already have, like, 2 antagonists for this season.
Right.
So I don't know if the young rogues are really needed right now, but, I mean, if they're going to slowly build them up, over and then kind of use them, I mean, I'm cool with that.
The other thing with Silver Ghost, she does like when the way they figure out who she is because she salutes in the video, and I was like, why did she even do the salute?
Yeah,
or you would have never known who she was.
Yeah.
The breakout moment of this episode for me, the one really redeemable moment for me, was when Barie was reading Rory's.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that's this season's Bebo.
Yeah.
The ridiculous thing that pops up on Legends that ends up everywhere else.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to happen.
Do you think Barie, when Barry's giving Nora the anyone can change is good in everybody's speech, and she's like, what about Eobard Thawne? Do you think that, like, he's serious, that he thinks there's good, or do you think that was like a, sure, even Eobard Thawne? Like Barie does not believe this for a second?
Oh, yeah, no, but I think Barie was like, well, if I say he can't change, then my whole speech just goes out the window.
Exactly. Like, I was looking at his face for, like, any kind of, like click or, like, recoil from this.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, you want to hear my huge problem with the episode?
Go for it.
We've got this supercar, this, like, Knight Rider car, developed by Wayne Enterprises, by Bruce Wayne himself, okay? And you control it with an iPad that has emojis on it?
Oh my god, did I hate this. Oh, I totally forgot about this.
The mustache with the monocle to make it go invisible?
It was the stupidest thing I have ever seen in my entire life, and I lived through WCW, people. I mean,
at what point is, like, do you think that's how the Batmobile works? Listen, Alfred, I don't want to.
I'm like, how did we suddenly get Teen Titans Go into the Flash? I was like, I don't understand this. I don't understand who thought this was a good idea. Oh my god, I hated it.
Listen,
so
Alfred,
much.
I don't want to flip a lot of switches. I don't want to hit a lot of buttons. I want you to make this Batmobile as easy to use as physically possible. Well, sir, what if I just made it? What if you operated the sunroof with the smiley face that's on the sun? Love it. Make it happen. I love these things. These little emoji things.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I love me some the poop emoji.
I couldn't even see Lego Batman having a control panel like this.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I could see Lego Batman having it.
It was so bad.
So it made even if I had been liking the episode up to that up to that point, the entire thing fell apart at this moment.
Yeah.
The worst is that it's designed by Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, I gave this episode a 4.
Real quick, how long has Bruce Wayne been missing?
3 years, I think.
Okay, so he designed this, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
My swan song before I leave on my big adventure.
Maybe he was just like, that was his mic drop.
Yep.
He's like,
my
the
father's
emoji
dream.
car.
The emoji car's how we beat LexCorp, Alfred.
I can't top this, so I'm going away.
Or maybe it's just Lucius Fox just phoning it in at this point.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know. I'm all out of ideas. Why don't we just make a supercar that talks? Like, we can get Mr. Feeney in to do the voice. Nah, we're going to make it a supercar. And you hit the little emoji and it does things. My Morgan Freeman voice.
I want to know who came up with this. I want to know at what level was this in the script? Was this a director's call? Was this a post-production call? But whoever thought it up needs to be fired.
I rewound it to see if it was something that Silver Ghost did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like, it just exists. I gave the episode a 4 out of 10. What'd you give?
I'll go a little bit higher. I'll go with a 5, but...
All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on to a better Flash episode. The Flash Season 5, Episode 11, Seeing Red. Honestly, I missed Cicada in the last episode, because all he does is take people's powers and get with the stabbing. He doesn't, have emoji cars and things like that.
Yeah.
I really gashed when he broke Nora's back.
Yeah.
I'm sure you loved it because you hate Nora.
Yeah, I cheered. But the only thing that really upset me about that was the fact that she was fine by the end of the episode.
You know what? I would have liked to have seen Paralyzed Nora go a few more episodes.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So there's no it's almost like there's no consequences. Because they've got super speed healing. I felt it was reminiscent. It was a nice throwback to when Zoom broke Barry's back.
Yeah.
Which was one of my favorite scenes in the Zoom Barie saga. And, of course, we're keeping Joe in Tibet.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I'll call Joe. We'll get him right back from Tibet. No, he should stay with Wally. Come on. All right, folks, we're going to get back to more of this episode in a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more on The Flash Season 5, Episode 11, Seeing Red.
From the imagination of author Kevin J. Kessler, the Rosinanti dragons are no more. They have fallen into the obscurity of lore. Now warrior Valentine Barie and Seraphina, a magically gifted princess, are on a mission to save the world of Terra. Together they must face the Rosinanti legacy and combat the greatest threat their world has ever known. In the end, who is stronger, the man or the dragon? Find out in Kevin J. Kessler's The Rosinanti series on Amazon.com today.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com, or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hanging Out Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellish Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellish Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellish Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embellisheffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
The Rite of Wands. One boy, one rite. And a world of deadly secrets that could change the course of history forever. It's time for The Rite of Wands by Mackenzie Flohr. When a horrible fate reveals itself during the Rite of Wands ceremony, Myrda must find a way to change his destiny. Forbidden from revealing the future, he is granted a wand and magical powers in order to save himself and those he loves. But Myrda is not the only one with secrets. The Rite of Wands by Mackenzie Flohr, available on Amazon.com now.
And now, back to the Watchtower.
Welcome back to the Watchtower, ladies and gentlemen. We are still talking about The Flash, Season 5, Episode 11, Seeing Red. And so, we're keeping Joe in Tibet, as we just said. But the one thing I love the most in the show going forward has been the detective bros mentality between Ralph and Sherlock. Sherlock has grown on me, by the way.
Yeah, same here.
I'm more of a fan of Sherlock Wells than I was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that they fleshed out the character quite a bit. What I did not enjoy was the team captain freaking out on him.
Yeah. I was like, wow, Iris, you've almost gone 2 whole episodes without me hating you. And now you have to give it, like, Sherlock, I mean, like, clearly, if he's investigating, there's got to be a problem.
Do you think Excess is going to be back next season?
I don't. I think she's a one-and-done character.
I hope so.
I know you hope so, but I still think she's delightful. I really like Excess. What your problem is, but especially when there's much worse characters in this universe to hate. When they go into the boxing place, I was like, oh no. But thankfully it was Norvok and not Amunet, because I didn't need that in my life again. Oh, did I not need Amunet back? You know what I feel like the solution to this cicada problem is? Barie learning how to fight.
Yeah.
Because, like, if Barie goes through, like, the Oliver Queen, school of hand-to-hand combat, which, as we learned from Roy, it's just, like, 2 episodes of training.
Yeah.
If he could own him when the powers go away, because that's the problem. He just keeps getting the crap knocked out of him the second he loses his powers.
Yeah.
But I will say he held his own in this one better than he has in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Cicada has taken somebody on Team Flash out this season.
I think so, too.
I think it's Cecile.
I hope not. She's actually... I've become a big fan of hers.
I love Cecile, and I'd be really, really sad if she goes down. But I think it's Cecile or Joe, or like it's not going to be one of the ones you want to leave. You know what? It could be Ralph, or Ralph just might leave the show because they clearly don't have the budget for him anymore. Though he did use his powers in this episode, which I was glad to see.
Yeah,
we did get some stretchy Ralph action.
By the way, we completely skipped over a pretty important plot device that was introduced last week and continued this week.
Which one?
Which is the cure.
The metahuman cure. Yes. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about this.
I don't understand. Like, I didn't understand Caitlin's hesitation for it, because it's not like we're forcing this on people.
Right. I understand Killer Frost's hesitation.
Well, yeah, of course. All of a sudden, though, Cisco not wanting his powers is kind of a 360. Or a 180. I'm sorry, 180.
Right? 180.
Yeah, 180 would be an about.
Yeah, okay.
A complete about face. It seems kind of jarring to me that all of a sudden Cisco thinks his powers are a curse.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the metahuman cure?
I just feel like it's something that X3 didn't handle it great.
Oh, God. That's why the Poland's go first. The worst dialogue in movie history. In just the Poland's go first, and they all fall down. That is why the Poland's go first. Thanks, Eric. Thanks. No, we got it. We're good.
Thanks for clearing that up.
For the visual impaired, they all fell down.
But I feel like it's something that we've seen done before, and I don't know. I mean, at least they're not. I was dreading it causing like Team Flash to break up. Like half the team would be all for it, and half the team would be against it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like they're going that route, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, me too.
Because if I have to sit through Team Flash pulling a Team Arrow, where they split up and turn into different teams, and
no, thank you. No, thank you. I don't need that in my life again.
No,
especially not from Team Flash, who I like infinitely more than Team Arrow. How about? I thought that the entire ending sequence where they were fighting Cicada was very well done. I really felt a lot of tension in Ralph, like saving the metahumans. I felt a lot of tension with Barie, where he was about to kill Cicada.
Yeah, I had a problem with the ending of it, though.
Okay, go for it.
So, Barry's about to possibly kill him with apparently the most deadly strike anybody has ever seen. And XS speeds in, and Barie just goes and hugs her. Like, doesn't knock out Cicada.
No.
Doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And just lets him go away. And then Nora's like, oh, I'm sorry I let him go away. It's like, it's not your fault. Yeah, it is.
It's all your... Yeah, that all these people are going to die now.
Yeah. Anybody else that dies at this point, it's directly on Barie and Nora's head.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Is it just me, or is this anti-metahuman sentiment that's going around on Flash this season kind of reminiscent of something happening in National City right now?
Yeah. But I feel like it's much more of a thing on Supergirl.
Yes.
I mean,
but
is...
then again, I mean, you know what? I don't really see it as people are like, oh, it's only because of the... because of Trump and the MAGA people. I don't see that. I think it's more of... I think it's more of a... it's kind of like X-Men.
Right,
yeah. It's a tale that's been told in comics forever. It just happens to have, modern day. So I gave this episode a 7 out of 10.
Wait, which one are we...
we're talking about the Flash seeing red.
Okay. Actually, I'll go 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
All across the board, everything's equal so far, with except for that one Flash episode. Okay, so one quick thing I wanted to say before we move on to Arrow to end the show is they're like, we have to wake up Grace. I'm like, why weren't you working on that already?
Yeah, I would have thought that this would have,
maybe that should have been a priority from the beginning.
Ago.
Yeah. Arrow Season 7, Episode 10, My Name is Emiko Queen. So we got to kind of speed through this one because we're running out of time. They gave her some like Oliver Queen-esque voiceovers here. Now it's a Renee episode. Swan, what was you had told me on the phone that this was your tipping point with Renee.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, Renee last season became an irredeemable character when he turned his back on Oliver. And
during the trial.
What? Say that again?
During the trial.
Yes, during the trial. To me, at that point, Renee became an irredeemable character. But now, in the whole, like, the flash forward stuff that we're seeing with Renee as the mayor of the Glades,
mm-hmm.
To me, it's just, like, there is no reason to cheer for this character at all.
Because you know where he's going.
You know where he's going, and you know that he's becoming an asshole that is, okay with, thousands of people dying.
Right, absolutely. Part of me thinks that part of me thinks it's like a ruse or something. That it's not really what you think it is.
I don't know.
So the Diaz being in the Suicide Squad now, do we really need him still in the show?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of photos he has about who in that creative team, but
it's got a picture of Greg Berlanti riding a circus clown.
Yeah, we got rid of him. Like we were done with him twice.
Yes.
And yet he keeps coming back.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice they did a name drop of Kondak?
No, I missed that.
They did. They dropped the Kondak, which is the fictional Egypt-type country that Black Adam comes from, which I guarantee you they're never mentioning again because Shazam is coming out.
Oh, yeah. The fact that they're doing the Suicide Squad, but it's clear that they're not allowed to say the word Suicide Squad.
Oh, team like Project Ghost?
Yeah, or Ghost Protocol.
I was wondering why they were doing that. That makes sense now.
Yeah, because they can't...
Horrible.
And they have two names for it already. Like, if you don't want to say Suicide Squad, just call them Task Force X.
Right.
Like, you have multiple names, but
I can't believe... So, yeah, Warner Brothers made them stop doing Suicide Squad stuff on Arrow because they were doing the horrible Suicide Squad movie.
Right.
That's why they killed off Amanda Waller. They got rid of Deadshot. I mean, this is really just... I hate when Warner Brothers does this to itself.
But and so just in-universe now, not talking about behind the scenes.
Right.
Well, I don't understand how... like, this trade for Diggle, getting the information that he got, to me, did not balance out
No.
this.
No, and Diaz, Oliver, when he sees Diaz on the street, it's going to be a huge, situation.
Yes.
Which
and
makes
rightfully so.
Yeah, and we're not done with Diaz again, which is going to really stink. Really quick, the character of Emiko fell a little flat for me.
Yeah, I kind of put her with XS from Flash. Like, I don't like these gender swap characters.
Right.
Like, and to me, it's just like, oh, it's just like Green Arrow, but a girl. Oh,
my thing has always been make a new character.
Yes.
Because
design a new character from the ground up.
I'm all for representation. I think representation is super important.
I agree.
Like, Miles Morales will always be the Black Spider-Man. He will never be Spider-Man.
Right.
But if you gave him his own character, even if you made him the Scarlet Spider, that's his own character that can be just as big as Peter Parker one day. But Peter Parker will always be Spider-Man. That's, unfortunately, we've got to wrap up the show. We spent a little bit too much time on Flash, I think. But the real quick before we end, Swan, super fast reaction to the picture of John Cryer as Lex Luthor.
I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this Lex thing for a long time. The photo looked great, and
Perfect.
I'm a couple weeks to go, and here we are.
By the way, I gave this episode of Arrow a 3 out of 10.
Oh, I'll go much higher than that. I will go 5.5.
Okay. Well, folks, that does it for this week's episode of The Watchtower. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. We'll be able to space things out a lot more because we'll have a lot more breathing room next week. I have a lot to get to, but welcome back to 2019 here on The Watchtower. We're glad to have you with us. Folks, for Dave Swan, please check out UWAElite.com to see when Dave's next shows are coming up. Also, check out the UWA Elite Network, which you can get for only $6.99 a month. Is that right, Swan?
That is right.
All right, and folks, for me, check out my books, the Rosinanti series and Winters of Elnora, Birth of the Dark Angel, which you can all find on Amazon.com by looking up my name, Kevin J. Kessler. Follow me on Twitter, Kevin J. Kessler, or on Instagram, @WhiteDragonPN. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Watchtower Offline.